As the Sonic movie franchise continues and it adapting other previous Sonic features, such as Sonic 2, taking inspiration from Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and a little bit of Sonic Adventure, like that snowy mountain scene during that particular part of the movie, and Sonic 3 taking inspiration from Sonic Adventure 2, it will no doubt be interesting to see what the future Sonic movies will be, and see what content they adapt, such as, for example, Sonic 06, Sonic Generations, or even a possible adaptation out of Sonic Frontiers. It's still pretty fun to speculate as to see what adaptations will the future movies take inspiration from to make the Sonic movie franchise continue on. In a previous video, we took a look at a few, such as a possible Sonic X Season 3 movie adaptation, a Sonic Heroes movie adaptation, and pretty much other ones. So I'll leave a link to that video below if you want to see that part out first, but for now, we'll dive right into this next part. The fourth Sonic movie is just 1 year and 1 month away from the release date, unless of course it gets delayed by a few months or maybe 1 more year. Looking at it, it is pretty obvious that it'll adapt Sonic CD, since we do know that that game does have some time travel involved, such as the future, past, and the present signs that you hit that spin when Sonic interacts with them. There have been rumors that it may feature some time travel, which will of course also feature Metal Sonic and Amy Rose as characters for the movie franchise. So far, we have not seen much aside from the logo reveal, a few possible plots of what the movie could be about, and of course this weird screenshot with Robotnik and Metal Sonic sitting in a throne, which will possibly be the climax of the entire movie. It wouldn't be surprising if they adapt some Sonic CD, but of course also come up with their original idea of what the fourth Sonic movie could be about without adapting anything else, other than, of course, in character style, it will be adaptation out of Sonic CD. With the Sonic movie spin-off announced some time back, in my personal opinion, I think it is pretty clear to say that the possible Sonic movie spin-off will be based off of Shadow. Maybe go into more deep dive into Shadow's backstory, even though we kind of know the whole thing, but go into more detail with every single little detail or plot twist and all that down to the littlest things. Seeing something like that could be taken from the 2005 Shadow game won't be a bad idea in my eyes. I mean, yeah, they could introduce Black Doom, even though he probably won't be in the movie franchise, but it could introduce some other character that might replace Dark Doom, although that does sound kind of wrong if they actually do that. But of course, there are other possible adaptations they could do, such as, for example, Silver the Hedgehog movie. Maybe imagine just a Blaze the Cat movie before she actually gets introduced in a new franchise, or anything along those lines. Maybe even the Chaotix themselves. So far, there is nothing but an announcement, but it is pretty fun to speculate of what this possible adaptation of this Sonic spin-off for the movie franchise will be. But who knows, maybe this year we will get our first look at it, like a logo reveal, or maybe even a first teaser, maybe even a first teaser trailer for this upcoming spin-off that is set to release actually on December 2028, which is only about a year and 9 months separate from the fourth Sonic movie. If enough characters are introduced during the middle of the Sonic movie franchise, it will be interesting to see a possible adaptation out of the original Sonic Adventure. I mean, yeah, there's separate stories of different characters' point of view, and then seeing them dealing with rough times as they battle villains and make their way towards the climax of the entire game, like around the very last story. Seeing something like that, it will kind of feel like a Sonic Heroes movie, but obviously just one by one on each character and see what their deal is and what enemies they will encounter as the movie progresses. And yes, that also may be the first and only appearance of Chaos, the infamous final boss from Sonic Adventure 1. Who knows, maybe it might even introduce Bake the Cat for the first time and Froggy for the first time, maybe even Tikal if that ever happens. One of the most beloved games in the Sonic universe and the franchise itself is the game Sonic Unleashed. It will be super nice to see a movie version of the Werehog in a movie adaptation out of Sonic Unleashed. This could also do well as an October movie, kind of like a Halloween special type of movie, even though it's not going to be scary. It's just going to feature Sonic as a werehog, just to fit well around the spooky season. Maybe Chip will even be a character in the Sonic movie franchise. But of course, it will be pretty hard though to introduce every single character from the franchise. But if that has to be the case, I actually don't see a problem doing it, you know? Even though Sonic Rush is just an introduction to Blaze the Cat, one of the most important and infamous characters in the Sonic franchise, even though we don't see a full-blown film adaptation out of Rush, it will still be pretty good to see it as like a 30-minute special that can be found on streaming platforms. Or maybe even convert it into a mini-series, for example. I'm not saying that Knuckles style, because we do know that a lot of fans were not happy with that show, so maybe even seeing an improvement and probably making Blaze's character into a mini-series, or maybe even a short 30-minute or so movie. I think it will probably be good enough to boost the movie franchise into a more successful path. Of course, you can't forget her that she is the guardian of the solid emeralds found in the game itself, and she can turn into a fire form of Blaze the Cat, and then obviously together Supersonic and Burning Blaze will take down whatever's lying in their path in that mini-series, mini-movie, or if they get enough ideas to make it into a movie, then obviously they will make it into a movie. As for me personally, I see mostly Silver coming first, but I wouldn't mind them seeing those two together. Maybe even they will play both roles in a pretty big movie, such as in 06 Adaptation, and then maybe Sonic Rush at the same time, both combine into one big plot, you know, something out of 06 and Rush at the same time. And it will probably make a pretty big Sonic movie, probably at about 2.5 hours long, and probably in the 5th or 6th Sonic movie. Despite Forces having mixed reviews among the Sonic community, with half the fans liking it, half the fans not liking it, or just completely despising it, I would say a possible adaptation for Sonic Forces could redeem the game itself, even if it doesn't do well, even after they do an adaptation out of Forces. I mean, yeah, with other mixed games such as Lost World and Sonic Superstars, even if they don't do a direct movie adaptation out of it, they could put in some Easter eggs, such as, for example, maybe a little bit of Trip's backstory. Maybe something out of that probably could redeem the games a little bit, but not in much entirely. Of course, not everyone's gonna love it, but it would be pretty interesting to see if they could actually redeem them. Sometimes the game does better than the movies, sometimes the movies do better than the games themselves. But obviously, I feel like more people are gonna prefer the games over the actual movies. But for this case, if they actually do an adaptation, not even if it's not a direct adaptation out of Superstars, Lost World, or Forces, maybe referencing them, even if it's a direct, separate, original story for the movie franchise, like a movie that doesn't adapt any of the games at all, maybe referencing them could maybe bring them up a little bit. Let's be honest, pretty much every Sonic movie has to have at least one Easter egg, one reference, anything of that for a future Sonic movie, and if it's just a little small Easter egg. Now, will that make the games feel worse? It might actually happen, but we don't know for sure if they don't at least try. But of course, this is probably the least likely possibility that they will do to make these games into a possible movie adaptation. Because let's be honest, Sonic 1 was just an introduction. Sonic 2 took some inspiration from Sonic 2, Sonic 3, probably considered the better games from CD and the original Sonic game. And definitely one of the biggest reasons the third movie did so well is because it was a direct adaptation, even if it's not super directly, but did take inspiration from Sonic Adventure 2, which is actually one of the best Sonic games of all time, according to a lot of fans. I mostly see them doing the most successful Sonic games and taking inspiration from those games into a movie adaptation. Out of these three choices, I mostly see them doing like a Forces movie adaptation. I say Lost World a second place, and obviously third place is Sonic Superstars, because they could just introduce a baby version of Sonic in a separate movie. Well, they kind of already did with the first movie. But as I was saying in the previous video, they could have baby Sonic and the normal modern movie Sonic go on a little journey together to stop Robotnik, or maybe even the Time Eater, from messing with time. So yeah, they don't have to directly do adaptations out of this. It's just a director's choice, let's be honest. This is all just speculation as mentioned before, so we don't know what will directly happen, but it is fun to see where the movie franchise will go next. Now, there were a few things I want to clear up just before I end this video, guys, so I'm gonna try to make this as short as possible. So first of all, thank you guys so much for watching the previous video if you've seen it. So that video did so well, 4,000 views, and then some people were actually asking for a part 2, so I decided to make a part 2. So I also want to give a shout out to anyone who commented. Pretty much like every single person who commented on a video, I just want to give them a shout out to them. And then they also put in their possible predictions for the future Sonic movies. So yeah, I've seen some people do Sonic Adventure 1 to Unleashed, and I actually had to think about that, and I was like, you know what, that's not a bad idea. And so I decided to make a part 2. So pretty much shout out to everyone who put in their own comment, whether it's related to that or not. It is fun to guess to where the Sonic movie franchise will go next and how it will play out. And will it end expertly? I hope it does. Hopefully it ends emotionally. Hopefully it ends the way it needs to end. But yeah, that does it for here. So let me know in the comments what are some other possible movie adaptations that could do well for the Sonic movie franchise, that the director can take from the games and then just make them into a movie, or maybe just miniseries. Actually, I do not see them doing a Knuckles Season 2. I don't know if I've seen that they're actually doing it, or they're just false rumors that I'm just hearing. But if you guys want to leave your own ideas as to what they could also adapt, just let me know in the comments down below. I would not mind seeing that at all. But in the meantime, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and don't worry, I'm still here in case you are still around here. And like I said, just let me know in the comments if you disagree or agree, and just let me know your predictions. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.